me Michaela, and welcome back to my channel. I have just finished filming my reading plans for the rest of the year. I'll leave that video linked for you because it should be posted before this one. In that video, I talk about how I really want to focus on finishing as many series by the end of this year as possible. And that made me think that it'd be really fun to start a finishing series reading vlog series. This is not my own idea. So many people I think have been doing this before me, and I am just jumping on the bandwagon because it's just fun to be reading books and accomplishing goals, and seeing other people finish series is really making me want to finish series even more than I already am wanting to finish series. So I thought I would start a little reading vlog today for this exact purpose. So I'm going to be reading 2 books for this video, episode 1 if you will, and that is As Good as Dead by Holly Jackson and Wildfire by Hannah Grace. So I will give a little talk about this. As Good as Dead is the 3rd and final book in Holly Jackson's A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. If I read this, I will finish reading a complete series, which is the ultimate goal because there's no more books come out, so I can't become up-to-date with reading the series. Once this is ticked off, I can put it over onto my fully completed series sheet in my spreadsheet. I also have a video talking through my series spreadsheet if you want to check that out. So this is one of my top priority reads right now because it's a fun YA mystery. I found the first 2 books in the series read really quickly, so I'm excited to kind of have a nice fast-paced book. Mysteries also. It's November, it's cozy time, it's not quite Christmas. It feels like the right time to be reading a potential murder mystery before we get into not really wanting to read about murder in the Christmas season. So this feels like the perfect time to be reading this. I did really like the first book in this series. Good Girl Bad Blood was the second book, and I liked that, but I didn't love that. I talk about that in my reading mystery series sequel reading vlog, which I can also link for you. I feel like I'm just telling you to go watch all of my other videos right now. Please watch this one first. But I am excited. I believe this one also, again, continues the theme of having kind of multimedia aspects in the book. In the first book, it was through Pip, our main character, her logbook for her project where she was solving murder. In the second book, it's transcripts from a podcast that she's created. So I'm really excited to see exactly how this is going to conclude the series. Both A Good Girl's Guide to Murder and As Good as Dead kind of felt like their own complete stories. So I really have no idea what this 3rd book is going to be about because there kind of wasn't any leads into continuing on in the series. Honestly, I was surprised that the second book existed and worked so well because A Good Girl's Guide to Murder really feels like a full, complete story. I do like the series, so I'm happy that more exist, but I kind of was like, oh, this doesn't feel like a series book. It feels like a standalone. So I wonder if this is gonna have that same vibe. It's gonna be standalone. But it's in the series. And basically it's a series because it takes place after the other 2 books and it's the same characters, but the story, I don't know if this story is gonna have really anything to do with the previous stories other than our characters having experienced the previous stories. I mean, I don't know if that makes any sense. I hope it does. That's kind of just my thoughts going into it. I'm expecting to like this book. I'm not really expecting to love it, honestly, but I'm really hoping that I do love it. So we'll see this week. The other book I'm reading is Wildfire by Hannah Grace. This is a new release that I just got in the mail and I'm so excited to read it. This is the 2nd book in the Maple Hills series. The first book in this series was Icebreaker, which I have here. I read this over Labor Day weekend. Again, I have a reading vlog for this and I really liked it. So I'm really excited to continue on and read the 2nd book. Reading this, I'll be fully caught up in this series. I believe it will be an ongoing series. I don't see this being the 2nd and final book in it. I assume this is going to kind of be a series of companion romance novels. I feel like that's kind of the norm for romance series, which I have no problem with. I'm happy for. But if I read this, I'll be up to date, and since it has just released, I don't expect for another book to be released for quite a while. Fingers crossed, because I like to stay up to date. Yeah, so I'm excited about this. Icebreaker was a college sports romance, so I'm expecting this to be very similar because I believe our main male character is another one of the players on the hockey team as Nate in the first book, and I have no idea who our female main character is in this. So I'm expecting to have some of that college sports romance vibes, which I did really like. That in Icebreaker is really fun with the sport element. I didn't really think I would be a sports romance girl, but I think I'm a sports romance girl. I'm gonna need to investigate this by reading some more sports romances. But that being said, I'm very excited for this. I think it's gonna be a very fun read. This is the theme of this week, is quick, fun reads. I think this is this shorter than Icebreaker? No, it's around the same. It's almost 400 pages, which does feel a tad long for a romance, but I'm still expecting to like it. I'm really hoping I'm gonna like it. I'm really hoping I'm gonna love it. I'm hoping that the writing issues I had with Icebreaker are gonna be improved, and this could potentially be a 5-star. Who knows? We'll find out again this week. I'm not quite sure actually which one I'm gonna read first. I just finished reading The Alloy of Law by Brandon Sanderson. So that is fantasy with guns. High fantasy, but still fun. So I don't know which one I want to read first. I think I'm gonna read the mystery. I think I'll read the mystery first because, again, potentially by the end of this week I might already be in the Christmas mood, and then I won't be in the mood to read about a murder mystery. So I think we'll start with As Good as Dead, and then we'll read Wildfire. So I'm going to start reading As Good as Dead, and I will talk to you once I am partway through it and let you know my thoughts. Okay, see you there. Hello, it is me. I am back. Like, for you it's been like 2 seconds, but for me it actually has been a few days. But I'm now about a third of the way through Not Good Girl Bad Blood, that was the second book, As Good as Dead by Holly Jackson. I'm about 140 pages in, and it's only just starting to get good. It took me a while to get into this. One was because I started binge watching the new season of Selling Sunset, so like that kind of took up a bunch of my time accidentally when I probably should have been reading this. 2, because like it took 100 pages for the story to set itself up and actually start happening, which, I'm sorry, in a fast-paced YA mystery thriller is too long. Like, this book is 400 pages. You spent a quarter of it just setting up, like, the beginning. Like, we only started, like, the investigating part of the mystery 100 pages in, which seems like way too long of a time for me to wait for investigating shenanigans. A lot of the first 100 pages too did not have a lot of multimedia aspects. Now that things have kind of started, there is more, but like there's no journal entries happening like in the first book, and there's no podcast episodes like in the second book right from the start. So in this one you're just reading like a regular story, which there's nothing wrong with just having like a regular story, don't get me wrong, but it's just like not expected for this series. Like in this series it really feels like, you know, all the other books have been like maybe like 1 to 2 normal chapters and then some form of multimedia aspect to help propel the story. But because you spent 100 pages setting up the basic scenario of what this plot is, I was bored. I was like, can we just get to it? Like, because also you can kind of see where it's going, but then it like starts off somewhere. I feel like you could have gotten from point A to point B, the connection points that then launch the mystery. I feel like you could have gotten there way faster, and it did not need to be this drawn out. Here will be like a brief spoiler of what this plot is. If you want to know absolutely nothing about this book because it's the third in the book, I get it. What I'm gonna say I think is a bit of a spoiler if you want to not know anything. So like skip like 10 seconds ahead if you don't want to know this. But basically in this, Pip has a stalker. Then she has an idea of the stalker might be a serial killer, and the person who is in jail to be that serial killer might actually be innocent. So she's going to solve the mystery. But again, getting from the beginning where they introduce the stalking to when she starts investigating is 100 pages. And it does not need to be 100 pages. It did not need to be that 100 pages. Because ever since I hit the 100 pages, I've been reading like the last 40 pages I read really quickly because I was actually again into it again. So now I think it's probably going to speed up. I'm probably going to read the rest of it a lot faster. But I was just like disappointed because I'm like, can we get to the point? Can we get to the point of the book and start it, please? I feel like I sound much angrier at it than I am. Really, I'm just in a mood. I'm in a mood. But that's what my thoughts are right now. My thoughts are, it's now good, but why did it take us so long to get here? Okay, thank you. Hello, it is me in my little Christmas pajamas because It is very early on a Saturday morning, and I am incapable of sleeping in, but I am capable of being lazy, so we're not getting dressed yet. And I do have an update on As Good as Dead. You may remember that I was saying it took me forever to read the first 100 pages, but then I thought it would go very quickly. I am now 300 pages into the book, so I was correct. And it definitely took a turn I was not expecting at all, okay? And then I was like, how is she gonna work this out to be? Because at that point, there was still a lot of book left, and I was like, I have questions, but now I'm liking it. I'm liking where it's going. I'm still a little hesitant about like how I feel overall about it, but like in the moment, it's giving a lot of suspense. It's giving a lot of thrills. So it's really enjoyable and quick to read. Thinking like overall story for just, you know, like the absurdity. And then there are some questions about justice that in essence I am for what is being said here, but then the actions being taken are making me feel a little like it's gone a step too far in what it's saying. Especially for like a young adult audience, it makes me concerned slightly about how it could be taken in a much more extreme sense, because I think there's definitely like critique of the justice system and the law, and I think that's good, and we should be encouraging critical thinking and boundaries that are set up, especially with like class and financing and how that can affect. Anyway, there's just like a lot said, but then like again, like I said, the actions being taken in this by the individual people, it gets to a point where I'm like, I don't know if this is necessarily, just because I don't think it's also written in a way where it's saying maybe don't also do this. Like it seemed to be here in a very like positive light, and I don't know if that is also okay. Like I think we should be critical of all of it, and it's like a messy middle space, and it just makes me a little uncomfortable to think of what like younger minds and the intended audience for this might then convey from that meaning. I'm really trying to be vague because I don't want to spoil the book, but I'm just not sure on it. I'm not saying I'm against it fully. I haven't fully formed my thoughts on it, but my initial reaction is to be a little hesitant. I don't feel like I am at a point in my thought process yet, and I haven't finished a book to kind of go and be like, yeah, what I think this book is trying to tell is like 100% what I agree with, if that makes sense. I don't know if even that's just like too deep. Like maybe I should just be having a fun time with this book and just leave it at that and like turn off my brain. But I don't want to turn my brain off when I'm having these thoughts. Anyway, I am liking, however, that this book is making the trilogy make sense. It's like, is it realistic? No. Did I expect to be? No. But I do like that we're getting connections that link everything that's happened in the whole trilogy so far, and it's making it make sense. Because that's kind of been like my overall critique of this series has been like, why is it a series? Like the first book felt like its own story and its own book, and then the second book also, again, it felt like a full complete story. Like, where is this gonna go? And now it's making sense. Like this whole book is like taking the other two books and like being like, you see. And I'm like, I do see, thank you. So that's kind of where I'm at with this. I'm thinking I'll probably finish this book today because, like I said, I've been reading it really quickly because it's been very like thrillery, suspensey, and I'm excited to be finished and know how it ends, and then I'll have some final thoughts. So yeah, I will also say there is hardly any mixed media in this book in comparison to the previous two books, and that's been slightly disappointing. It's not that I dislike just, you know, a regular story being told, like chapter to chapter, but the mixed media elements in the first and second book were so strong and so integral to the story that it feels weird to be deviating from it so fully in this. There are mixed media elements, there are, you know, like articles and text or whatever like shown, but it's just nowhere near to the level that the other two books have, and it just feels weird because structurally that felt like a really important part of the series before now. So it's just like, oh, that's not there. Like I'm a little disappointed, but I'm not too disappointed because I'm still liking it. So yeah, there we go. I'm gonna finish the book and then I'll let you know my thoughts when I finish the book. Okay, thanks. See you there. Hello. It is later the same day, and I have finished reading As Good as Dead. I really spent my whole morning today reading that last 150 pages or so of this book, and I think I'm gonna settle on a 3.5 for this. I was considering a 4, but I really did feel like the whole first 100 pages of this were way too slow and took way too long to set up this book to really give it a 4-star. But the last bit was quite good. I do also feel like the last 50 pages or so, it just felt unnecessary, because it felt like we could have come to that conclusion 50 pages earlier instead of having the maybe not 50 pages, maybe more 40, but still the last chunk of the plot, we could have come to that exact same conclusion without having that last hump in the plot to get over. So I was like, why? I wasn't a huge fan of that. So I felt like that plus the beginning and how I felt about it, I just couldn't give it 4 stars, even though I do think once this got going, it took a lot of twists and turns that were unexpected and was really bingeable reading. There were parts that I guessed, and there were parts that were unexpected. I feel like I felt very middle of the road with it. As I was saying in my last clip too, I'm still not 100% sure how I feel the book is presenting its ideas of the justice system and justice in general. I think it is very highly important to be critical of the justice system and how it mistreats many people. However, I don't think that means that we can just vigilante justice our lives ourselves, and I think this book goes a little too far down that road. That's just my personal opinion. I don't think you can just take things into your own hands, but this book kind of leads me to believe that that's what it's leaving you to think is correct and right. I can be happy with how the outcome of this book is without really accepting all the ways we got there. I think that's something that I can believe. If you disagree, please let me know, or if you agree with me, I'd love to know. Maybe there's something I'm missing and I just went a different direction with what this book was telling me than everybody else did. I don't know. I was really happy though with how this connected the whole trilogy. I think I was saying that earlier as well. I felt like this really pulled all 3 books together well, and I think overall was a good ending to a trilogy. So I'm not too disappointed, but I do think that the first book is still the best and my favorite. All personal subjective opinions, but I think the trilogy is still quite good overall. I would reread all of these books again for a quick, fun kind of thriller mystery reading experience. I would do it all again. So time to put this back on the little shelf here, and then we get to move on down. Pick out Wildfire by Hannah Grace. Kind of really a big turn of events, going from As Good as Dead murder mystery thriller to Wildfire sports romance. But here we are. This is what I'm choosing to do in this video. So I'm really excited. I'm gonna start this later tonight. I think when I'm in bed, I'll start reading this and I'll let you know my thoughts as I'm going through it. I did really like Icebreaker when I read it in my Labor Day reading vlog, so I am looking forward to getting to this one. And it's a new release, and I'm finally reading a new release pretty soon after it's been released. I think this released a month ago now, but that's really quick to get to it for me. I usually am reading books years behind, so this is an accomplishment that I'm excited about. So I will see you for another update soon. Good morning. I am just about 140 pages into Wildfire. Now that I think about it, I think my first check-in for As Good as Dead was also 140 pages in. That was not on purpose. This is just what happened to be what I read. But I'm loving this so far. Is it realistic and a little insta-lovey, and it doesn't make sense for people who were strangers at the beginning of the book to suddenly be this into each other? Maybe a little bit, but it's a rom-com, so I don't care. Okay, I'm here to have just a fun time. And I'm actually really loving the oh my god, the camp. So the whole premise of this is that Russ and Aurora, they have a one-night stand, and then the next day they find out that they're both counselors at this summer camp, and now they're like stuck together all summer after thinking they weren't gonna like see each other again. So you can imagine how fun that is to read. And you know, so obviously there's also kind of this fun thing where it's like they've already slept together, but now there's like a slow burn, they can't be together kind of vibe, because there's like a no dating policy for the counselors at like all summer. So it's just been fun. It's just like I haven't been wanting to put it down, hence how I've read like 140 pages already in like way less time than it took me to read the first 140 pages of As Good as Dead. And it's just been like really fun. There's been a lot of like cute moments, a lot of silly moments. I like their banter. I feel like overall the writing in this has been better than in Icebreaker for me personally. I feel like it's flowing nicer. There's still a few times where I've been reading and I'm like, wait, who said that? But I think that's kind of maybe be more of a me problem, where I could have potentially just been like half zoning out while reading and thinking about something else in my life. So I won't hold that against Hannah. Yeah, I'm just having a good time. I'm really excited to just keep reading this. I like almost like read more last night, but then I was like, no, I don't want to read it that quickly, so I forced myself to stop, and here I am. But now I just want to be reading it again. So yeah, it's just been a lot of fun. I'm having a great time. I like both of the characters. I'm interested to see like where this goes, and I'm really hoping that there's no horrible third act conflict that I hate that will make me feel bad about the last part of this book, because I'm really liking it so far. So there we go. I have to go get ready for work now, and I will see you with another update soon. Okay. So I finished reading Wildfire. I really did mean to do another update before I finished it, but I forgot to do that. My bad. In my defense, the sun now sets at like 4:30, so I get home from work and I think it's bedtime. So like I don't think about doing a little update on the books I'm reading. But I also read this really quickly, so that's also partially why. But I did finish reading it and I really loved it. I ended up giving it 5 stars, which I was hesitant about if I wanted to give it 5 stars, but then I was like, you know what? I just had such a fun time that I'm gonna do it. So there we go. That's what I did. I gave it 5 stars, and now I'm fully up to date. My eyelashes are like in my eyeball, and that's like really unkind of them because that's not where they're supposed to be. No. Okay, I just like won't see out of my left eye then. So now I'm up to date in the Maple Hill series by Hannah Grace, and I'm actually really excited to read more. I really hope she continues writing in this series because I do just have a really fun time. They're really lighthearted while also still having characters with things they're working through and like serious topics. They're like addressed and dealt with, but it's not like the focal point of the characters aren't like they're more than just like their bad past experiences, which is nice, and it keeps it lighthearted. I really loved the summer camp kind of atmosphere for it. It did nicely like switch it up from the first book, Icebreaker, where it is like during the year at college. So this, you kind of got to see new characters while still sometimes seeing other older characters from the other book, and it just worked nicely for me. I liked both of our main characters, and I also thought that the third act conflict made sense. Like it felt like, yeah, that could happen. This seems like it could really happen in real life. That being said, why I was hesitant to give it 5 stars is because every time there's any kind of meaningful like heart-to-heart conversation between any characters in this book, it really just like took me out of the book because the dialogue felt just like so, I don't even know, it's not even unnatural isn't the right word, but it was just like I was reading it and I was like, this would never be a real conversation. Like this is not how real people talk when they're having these kinds of discussions. Like in my brain it just didn't feel realistic, and so I was like, I don't know if I can give this 5 stars because every time there's a serious conversation I'm like, this isn't real. But you know what, like I said, I just had such a fun time. I read it so fast, but I was like trying to not read it so fast because I like didn't want to read it so quickly and then it'd be over and then I'd be sad with my book hangover. But yeah, I really love this series, guys. It's just fun. And that's like what I want. Like if I want to read a serious book, it's not a romance, okay? Like I have other serious things to be reading if I want to be reading serious things. Romance, I don't want to read a serious romance, okay? That's not what I'm here for. I am here for the fun. So we liked it. I will also say that I think this had a better balance for the plot. It didn't feel like it dragged on. I felt Icebreaker was a tad too long. This didn't have that. The choppiness for writing really wasn't something present in this one for me, so I was really happy about that. And what was the other thing? I feel like there's something else in Icebreaker that kind of bugged me a little bit, but I can't remember what it was now. But either way, I didn't really have anything too much that bugged me in this other than, like I said, like some dialogue feeling really unrealistic and taking me out of the story a bit. Oh, I remember what it is. Icebreaker had a lot of spicy scenes. It wasn't like it was like way spicier than I was expecting it to. It was just the sheer number of scenes involving the spice was quite high. And this felt like it didn't have that. Like this felt like a normal amount, a logical amount. It felt correct for this spicy scenes be happening when they were happening, which I appreciated, because sometimes in Icebreaker I was just like, you know, like if I'm thinking that this is happening a lot, there's something wrong with how it's being integrated into the plot. Like the only reason I felt in Icebreaker that there was too many was because like the scenes felt like they kind of came out of nowhere, so it was like, whoa, wait, why is this happening again? Instead of like, if it was fully integrated into the plot, it made sense and it flowed better from scene to scene, including the spicy scenes, you probably wouldn't feel like it was quite as spicy as it felt. If that makes sense. Anyway, I'm now up to date and I've finished As Good as Dead, so I'm completely done. The Good Girl's Guide to Murder trilogy. This is done, guys. I have a full completed trilogy on my bookshelves that I have read every single book. How exciting, how fantabulous, wonderful, amazing. It's not that I haven't finished other series. It's just that I think, well, I guess I have all the A Court of Thorns and Roses books and I've read all of those. But like, I've read the Shadow and Bone trilogy, but like one of the books is lent out. And then same with the First Year of Mistborn. So it's like, I don't have many full complete trilogies that I've actually read all of them, and all of the books are currently on my shelf. Also, I decorated for Christmas. I think the Halloween decorations were up at the beginning of this video, and now there's Christmas decorations. So that happened at some point during the reading experience for this vlog. Enjoy. I think I'm going to just like end this now because at this point I'm kind of just blabbing about nothing. But I hope you like this video. Make sure to give it a like, give it a little thumbs up, and I think I'm definitely going to be continuing. I'm gonna make another vlog in this realm, you know, a little episode 2 of completing series to finish out this year. I'm not sure how many I'll make, but I'm just gonna keep making them until I feel like not making them anymore. So yeah, if you happen to like me, consider subscribing. I'd be happy to have you. And let me know your thoughts down below. Have you read Wildfire? Have you read the Good Girl's Guide to Murder series? Let me know. Let me know your thoughts, okay? And with that, I hope you're having a wonderful day today. I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.